My name is Shemaim Kirmani, and I'm joined today by my colleague Kaval Ilyas. We both work at the Citizens Foundation, which is one of the world's largest low cost private school networks, and it has over 2,000 school units in Pakistan. And most of these schools operate in low income communities that have very low tech access. So the study we'll be presenting today is the evaluation of an after school program, which was conducted by one of the departments at TCF, the Technology for Education department, and our department conducted an independent evaluation of this program to basically understand if it's working and how it can be improved before it goes to scale for the entire network. So let's just try to understand the program a bit better. So this was an after-school digital learning intervention, which was conducted in 14 non-profit TCF schools in Pakistan. It catered to grade 6, 7, and 8 students. This was a voluntary program and it was tablet based. So students were given tablets that had access to an edtech platform with math videos, assessments, and games. Since this program was after school, a facilitator was hired to manage the sessions. So she was asked to give minimum technical support and to basically manage the class and discipline and to give out the resources and take care of them. But she wasn't really expected to give any subject specific support. A total of 940 students enrolled into the program. So, the main objectives of the program were to basically extend learning time and help improve math learning outcomes, and also to encourage self led learning. Since this program gives students the option to kind of pick and choose what they want to study and in what order they want to engage with the content. So, they could watch the videos first and then do the assessments and games, or just like watch the assessments and games and then maybe later watch the video. So this was all up to them. So as I mentioned, our department evaluated this program in 2023 and 2024 to assess program implementation fidelity, student outcomes, and also look at stakeholder motivation and experiences. So first, we conducted an extensive literature review, and this is briefly what the literature says about some of these important aspects. So in terms of student outcomes, studies conducted in like similar low and middle income context usually show that this tech tends to have a significant and positive impact on learning. Then when it comes to design, some of the very key design features that are identified are contextual customization of such programs, and then also the inclusion of a self-led learning component. Then some of the gaps in the literature we were able to identify, and we hope our study can cater to, are that most of these studies do not focus on participant and stakeholder experiences. So there's like an overwhelming emphasis on student outcomes only. Additionally, there's also very limited studies like this in the Pakistani context. And then current studies also have small sample sizes, and most of them do not focus on secondary level students. Moving on, so the methodology for the evaluation, we opted for a quasi-experimental design. This was mainly because Raftaar was a voluntary program, so in every school around 40 students could sign up, and the rest of the students in grades 6, 7, and 8 weren't part of the program, so we were able to use them as a control group. And we were able to conduct pre and post tests for both the treatment and the control group. We also conducted classroom observations to look at um, implementation fidelity. We conducted interviews, surveys, and focus groups with students, teachers, facilitators, and school leaders. And in order to develop these tools, we conducted a comprehensive literature review and also pilot visits to basically tweak the design of these tools. Some of the analysis methods we used include, so for the pre and post test, we used difference analysis. For the survey data and the classroom observation data, we used frequency analysis. And then for some of the qualitative data, which includes the interviews and focus groups, we use thematic analysis. Moving on, so we'll be looking at some of the major results that the study produced. So firstly, the program was implemented with high fidelity. So we wanted to highlight some of the major things that some of the major guidelines that were being followed. So the program facilitators and principals were following setup and technical support instructions. So everything that the program team had outlined, it was mostly being followed. Students were interacting with the LMS on tablets, so we were able to see during the program time, students were engaged with the tablets. They were not trying to look at other applications or do other activities. Or most of the schools, actually all the schools that were involved in the program, they had the required resources. This includes tablets, earphones, and internet devices. Additionally, program participants were another major result was that program participants were performing better than non-participants in the learning assessments. This means the pre and post test. So the program was so this is basically about student outcomes, and we were able to see that the program is positively impacting learning outcomes in maths. The study was conducted in two different cities, Karachi and Lahore. In Karachi, we were able to see that Raftaar students are scoring an average 1.4% higher in the inline exam, and in Lahore, this percentage was 2.3%. And we also conducted a difference analysis, like I mentioned before, and this also showed that the program was significantly improving student learning, which was translating into higher scores. Now Kaval is going to take over.
Thank you so much, Shamain, for this comprehensive overview. Moving on. So we see that one major challenge that schools face were maintaining high attendance outside school hours. Average attendance was 51 to 60%. And external reasons reported were transport issues, program timing clashing with other commitments of the students, and weather conditions, which delayed, which closed down the schools. Um, some program related reasons were that students had low motivation, though they signed up voluntarily for it. We saw a motivation dip over the course of program. Some students already completed the content that was on the app, and repeating the content was not very motivating for them. There was some initial expectations that were set by the program team that the program would be 3 month long, but it was revised that expectation, and the program was went up to 6 months. But the students who signed up thinking that it's a 3 month program started showing like an attendance decline after 3 months. But we do see that the students who ensured regular attendance had better performance. And we can see that every 20-day increase in attendance would increase students' scores. Moving on, here I would want to point out to two interesting observations that from a student perspective, self-learning aspect of the program was really attractive to them. We can see from this board, I enjoy that I can make my own decisions, pick the topics I want to study. That is self-autonomy and making their own decisions about their learning was attractive to students. But when we come to school leaders and for example, our principals and area education managers, we see a hesitance about the self-learning component there. For example, our principals shared that students should not be given complete freedom to self-study, and there should be some guidance and structured support. So from as Shamain mentioned, that the facilitator was just there to provide like minimal content related support and mostly to take care of the tablets and manage the classroom. But our principals thought that it should be like a math teacher who should be leading this program, and she should be giving like a lecture in the beginning and assigning content from the tablet afterwards, like a traditional classroom. Um, if we move on, students opted in this program to improve their math skills and confidence. And over the course of the program, they shared that it helped their math skills. For example, one of our students shared that the program helped them understand concepts that they didn't understand from the teachers. One interesting observation when we observed the student behavior during this program, we saw that they were spending more time on assessments than the content. And one explanation to that would be that the app had some inbuilt peer comparisons that might have motivated students to focus on their scores more so that they rank higher than their other peers. And another explanation to it would be that those students enjoyed the self-learning component, they didn't really know how to build their understanding of a concept using the content on the tablet. Another observation was that when we did the analysis group, uh, when we did the analysis of the baseline results, we saw that the group who had opted into the program was performing better. So we can say that due to voluntary nature of the program, highest performing students opted into it, which leads us to the recommendations that other program designers and researchers in the similar working in the similar context can build on. So for similar programs, so this program worked in a low income context with low digital access, where communities have low digital access and students are not in a habit of studying through tablets or digital medium. So this program worked in those contexts. So this is a learning for other uh, content providers or program designers who want to work in low income contexts. Um, but the educators and researchers studies should ensure that program fidelity is monitored. Program designers should ensure that content is relevant. Students find the content relevant, and they should have like some program component that works on student motivation and catering to attendance issues if they may come up. Since this model was based on self-learning, we need to ensure in future programs that stakeholders are comfortable about the self-learning. Not just they should not just tell you that they like it. They should also be able to know how to navigate that content and build their understanding from a student perspective and from a principal and people who are taking care of that program and taking it forward and monitoring it, they should also be comfortable because they may not think that it works, and that might make them hesitant to adopt the program. Some of our key references used in this slide are uh, so these are some of our key references. And if you have questions during this conference, please reach out to us through CIES chat. After the conference, if you have further questions and queries, you can reach us out on these email addresses. This is also written in the poster that we have submitted for this conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.